Alrighty, folks, the wait is over. We are back racing here in the Sigma universe of racing. And USA Trucks Western Division, race number 14 of 15 here in the regular season. And we take to the dirt oval of Knoxville Speedway. And so on the front row, you've got Tim Cording and Trevor Walker. Interesting pairing there, as Tim Cording is trying to break up the Trevor duo that has been dominant so far in this West Division. Trevor Vaden and John Hagan right behind them. Brian DeBlanc and Chris Harvey. Matthew Fastnot and San Vital. Then you've got Sestre and the 29 there of Whitmore. Farrell and Magoon. Cower and Hobson. Walkner and Cruz. Jason So and Spinham Walker. Ladino and Vitor. Parker and Hunt. Roy and Durham. Steele and Starr. Roach and Wright. Chavot and Popgris. The duo Shangles, Monty and Jacob, starting deep in the field here tonight. Burridge, Kataz, Davis, Plays, Hubert, Kovacic, Rodriguez, Legend, and Holmes and Thole rounding out the rest of the field here tonight. 150 laps here at Knoxville is going to go by in a blur. This dirt track often provides us with some good racing. We've seen some crazy moments here at Knoxville in the past couple years. 150 laps. And they're usually turning lap times around 14 seconds. So quick laps here at Knoxville. Tim Cording and Trevor Walker coming to the start line here as the green flag waves. They're off and roaring here at Knoxville. Here we go, Trevor Vaden making a move already to try and attack for the lead here. Tim Cording had a brief stint there in the lead, and now it's going to be Trevor Vaden taking over first place, as that inside lane seems to be a lot quicker. 90 may have had pole speed, but does he have race pace? DeBlanc now up to second as that drops Cording into third. Tim Cording actually fresh off a Sylvania Cup win the other night when we raced at O'Reilly Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and he took home his first Cup win this year, pretty much about a year separated from his last Cup win. And so this sets us up for an interesting battle, as Trevor Vaden is on the outside of the overall points championship battle with his teammate Trevor Walker. Currently, Walker leads the overall point standings by 32 ticks in his favor. Trevor Walker only has 4 wins, while Vaden has 5. However, Walker has earned more points due in part to his pole tally, where he's had 6 pole positions starting at the front of the field. Today, that pole position was taken away, given to Tim Cording, so those are some points that Trevor Walker was not able to lock down here tonight. And here we go, Tim Cording making a move, trying to get up to second again. Getting past Brian DeBlanc for the position. And of course, this is race number 14 of 15 in the regular season, so Trevor Vaden might need some luck to get that 32-point deficit made up against his teammate and team owner, Trevor Walker. As they run right now, he would probably gain about 8 of the 32 points. He's going to need Walker to struggle a little bit harder to catch up to him in the overall point standing. And there you go. It looks like Walker trying to make an attack on third here. That'll help his case in holding down the overall points position lead. As Vaden leads the way, let's do a cycle through the field starting from the back. Looks like Kovacic, Legend, and Thole rounding out the last 3 spots on the field here. Plays, Popgris, Jacob Schengle, Lucas Holmes moving up. Looks like started towards the back, now up to 36. Kataz, Monty Schengle, Luis Rodriguez, Matthew Hubert, Roach, Adam Starr, Alan Chavot, Vitor, Davis, Roy, and Spinham Walker. Now we're getting up into the top 25 here, and you can see there's a lot of racing going on here towards the mid-pack. A lot of these drivers haven't settled their overall running position, as it seems like some trucks are quicker. Maybe even perhaps some trucks just stuck in the unpreferred line, trying to salvage what little they can. Chris Harvey running in 18th. Stuck in that high lane, that's kind of the danger zone, it seems like. You don't want to get stuck up high, you'll fall backwards in a hurry here. Trying to find that happy medium right down the center of the track line usually helps get you through the field a little bit quicker. Just like that, look at it, he gets right on the inside of the 94 and makes a move, gaining another spot, but in the process also losing a spot to the 30 of Tasha Wright. Dave Steele Jr. all the way up to 7th here. He's going to make a move on Kyler Sestre for position. Gets right alongside the 24. We know Dave Steele Jr. He's capable of winning. We haven't seen it in the trucks yet, as he's pretty much been winning non-stop in bridge to cup action, and the truck win has been very elusive for this 35 team, but it seems like they're kind of starting to get it all pieced together here, and Dave Steele Jr. trying to make a late season push in the USA Trucks West.
That feature.
Then we've got Lynn Farrell up to 5th here. Back up to the front of the field, and lap traffic starting to creep into the picture as you see Trevor Vaden catching up to the back of the field. Tim Cording not able to really catch up to the 20 truck yet, but as lap traffic could potentially slow up the pace here, don't want to count Tim Cording out from making it interesting. Vaden making his first few moves here on the lap traffic. This is where you as the leader need to be very careful not to make a miscalculation and cost yourself a good finish here tonight. It's only taken us 25 laps, and things are going to get a little bit more hectic as your leaders have to navigate treacherous waters here. Tim Cording goes way low down on the track. He makes it past one of the lap trucks here. Fighting now up to the next lap truck. And it's still about 5 truck lengths from him to the leader. As Trevor Vaden making much quicker work of the lap traffic than his competitors behind him. I must say, Trevor Vaden definitely has been the breakout star here in the USA Trucks West division, having not won any races prior to joining Trevor Ventures when they started this season. And he has been dominant and hard to beat week in and week out. Now the crazy part is he does race in a couple other series. ARCA 2, we've seen him break out and win in ARCA, but nowhere near as dominant as what he's been here in the trucks, where he's had an average finish, which almost untouchable, but an average finish of 6th. That's a hard tally to match or even beat for most cases. His team owner and teammate Trevor Walker only has 1 notch better with an average finish of 5th. So the two of them have been on a different level this year. Put that into perspective, 3rd in the points, Matthew Fastnot has an average finish of 7th. Still not very bad. As you look from 1st down to 4th, each driver basically has an average finish plus 1 from the next guy down. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, pretty much in chronological order as they are in the point standings. And another good run here tonight for Trevor Vaden should definitely help that average counter in the right direction. Oh, and now we've got moves being made by Trevor Walker, as Walker has now worked his way up to 3rd. This is going to be to the point where Trevor Vaden has to hope for max points by leading most laps here today and hoping that his teammate doesn't lead a single lap. Don't often see very many mistakes from Trevor Walker, though, and he's minimizing the bleeding of the points right now by moving his way through the field up to 3rd, and he has his sights set on 2nd with Tim Cording right there in front of him. But in the meantime, Trevor Vaden out front checking out. He's leaving the rest of the competition in the dust, quite literally, as they're racing on the dirt. August is right around the corner, and another jam-packed season or month of racing for our series. What's going to be exciting is all the post-season or regular, now that the regular season is coming to a close for all of our series. The trucks will close out their regular season in August. Bridge to Cup just has one more race in their regular season, and majority of August will be bracket racing. Each race carrying with it its own inner playoff game, basically, each week. It's going to be interesting to see the head-to-head matchups and who comes out on top to determine who's capable or eligible of running for the Bridge to Cup Championship. And then, of course, our Cup Series, we will get right about to the final race of our quote-unquote regular season, as the remainder after that, the final 10 races, will all be double points. And so there's a lot on the line. You definitely don't want to let up off the throttle now, because once it gets down to the double point section, that's where someone can come from behind and steal the championship away from the most dominant drivers. This truck championship is going to be exciting. As you all know already, it's going to be the best of the best from the East and the West, duking it out for the overall Grand Championship, or in other words, the combined championship between the East and the West. 10 of the best from the East, 10 of the best from the West. Those that have won races are already locked in. It's looking like we're going to have to point a lot of drivers in for this West side, since so many of the wins have been tied up by the same two drivers between Trevor Walker and Trevor Vaden. We do have 5 different winners, so 5 drivers that are locked in, other than the pair of Trevors. You've also got Matthew Fastnot, Noah Hobson, and Alex Sanvital. Oh, and of course, Spinham Walker, so we do have 6 drivers locked in. That means 4 drivers will make it in on points as they sit right now. And those 4 drivers, as things run, would be Brian DeBlanc, Kyler Sestre, Zach Magoon, and Dave Steele Jr. However, Dave Steele only has 1 point advantage over Chris Harvey. So Chris Harvey could make up that point and get by Dave Steele Jr. So still a lot on the line, especially for those that are trying to point their way in, where the wins are at such a premium. Tim Cording, of course, needs a win. That's why we've seen him struggling and trying as hard as he can to make that win happen. It's elusive, and it's definitely just shows you how strong this field is to keep one of the best at bay. It was just about a year ago where we seen Tim Cording win about 8 races throughout a season, and it looked like he was impossible to beat. And now he's got his hands full trying to solve the mystery that is the Trevor and Trevor show. So we're 50 of 150 laps, so 1/3 of the way through tonight's event. Just under 100 laps left to go. And that we've blown through the first third of this race in 20 minutes. So we're on pace to have this thing done and over within an hour. But yeah, so based on how things are going right now, Dave Steele Jr. kind of putting a nice little apostrophe, an exclamation point on his action here in the Truck Series. Running top 10 right now would be good enough to keep him top 10 in the points. Chris Harvey, on the other hand, not too far behind, knows what he's got to do here tonight. Sitting 16th. He's trying to maximize the points he can gain with the track that is available to him. Of course, with Zach Magoon, let's see where Zach Magoon's running. The 51 of Magoon. Currently in 20th. So Harvey not likely to make up 20 points on Magoon. Dave Steele Jr., on the other hand, is probably going to make up about 19 points on Magoon. So Zach will be your number 10 driver on the bubble if things were to finish right now as they are running. Of course, all Harvey can do is continue to move through the field here and stay alive for the drive for the championship. Most of the LFG Motorsports teammates and drivers are already locked in. Noah Hobson, of course, here on the west side, locked his way in with a win. On the east side, Chaz Chadwick has locked his way in, and Jeffrey Gerald still sitting pretty safely in the top 10 in points. There could still be a couple surprise winners down east that could steal a position away from Jeffrey Gerald. But LFG Motorsports looking to get all four of their drivers locked into the championship push here. Chris Harvey knocks off a few more spots, up to 14th. And keeping his sights set towards the field in front of him, Dave Steele Jr. still running in 9th. So no matter what happens tonight, if Chris Harvey can somehow find a way around Dave Steele Jr., that'll be enough to give Chris Harvey 10th in the point standing. Now, the one spoiler that most people aren't anticipating or is often overlooked, you don't want to count out Tim Cording here tonight, as we've got, there we go, a battle for the lead brewing right as I mentioned it. Tim Cording on the attack here with Trevor Vaden. So if Tim Cording gets the win, that's going to bump some drivers out of the bubble and totally just going to upset the apple cart here. So now Tim Cording takes the lead. A little bit of assistance there from his teammate Truck, the 30 of Wright, holding up the 20's momentum there. But now we got a new leader, and we're still just short of halfway. And a caution, too. Oh, they better be careful. Our leaders better steer clear of that one. So fortunately, that's a bummer deal for the 36 of Lucas Holmes. We'll see. Oh, and Lucas Holmes had nothing to do with it. Did Dave Steele avoid it? Yeah, he did. Ah, dang, it was a blown engine from Rich Roy that the rest of the field catching up to him did not have time to stop. Alan Chavot, unfortunately, just an innocent bystander in the whole mix. Lucas Holmes tried to avoid it and came up short there. So, This is going to kind of mix things up too if our leaders pit. Hopefully it doesn't shake the running order up too badly here. And it mixes things up a little bit as Trevor Walker now moves past the 90 of Tim Courting. That definitely is going to shake things up here as Trevor Vaden coming back down pit road. I don't know what's going on here. Went down pit road once. Okay, now they're getting sorted. All the lap traffic's going down pit road next time here. So Trevor Vaden maintains the lead. Up to second, it's going to be Brian DeBlanc. Third, Trevor Walker. Fourth, Tim Courting. Fifth, Anheuser Wagner. Sixth, Lynn Farrell. Seventh, Alex Sanvital. William Whitmore in eighth. And it looks like we've only got about 8 trucks on the lead lap. Yeah, Kyler Sestre is ninth on the lead lap. 7th place. Or Spinham Walker in 10th place, I mean. Yeah, 15 trucks on the lead lap. So, as they still are trying to get things sorted here. Double file restarts with lap traffic kind of mixed in there. I've figured out that this might be the only way I can use better cautions on these short tracks without causing the game to crash. If you try to send all those drivers to the back of the field, it would have crashed. So lap traffic on the inside. Trevor Vaden on the outside with the restart. Brian DeBlanc, Trevor Walker. This is where things might get hairy for these leaders. Mixed in with that, all that lap traffic, could be wrecks waiting to happen now. Vaden cruises around the outside here. 3 wide with lap traffic right in front of him almost. The 09 of Fastnot, that's a lap truck. Fastnot back on the lead lap in 16th, so the lap traffic really throwing a curveball here on this restart. Ooh, and there goes Trevor Walker to the lead. Bossman wants to try and capitalize on the restart here. Making a move to get by Trevor Vaden and take the lead. 4 wide for second place, that ain't good. DeBlanc and Vaden stuck right in the middle of it all, the meat in the sandwich. Well, Vaden goes from leading the race, falling all the way back to 5th here now. DeBlanc somehow manages to gain a couple spots up to 2nd here. Anheuser Wagner actually is your 2nd place driver right now, so Wagner finds his way up to the front of the field, fighting for the win. This threw a curveball for the entire field. No one saw this coming. We just go over the halfway mark here at Knoxville as we're down to the last 72 laps to go here in the race. Tim Courting now making a move, getting up to 2nd, fighting with lap traffic. Tim Courting back on the attack. This time he's got to figure out the other Trevor. He was able to pass Trevor Vaden under competition. Now he's going to have to get past Trevor Walker with competitive laps. And of course that ultimatum had been made as soon as he was reinstated in the USA Truck Series, that as long as he maintains a top 30 in the points and gets a win, he will be able to play for the championship. And since being reinstated, he's pretty much been running top 5, unless he gets caught up in a wreck not of his doing. He has been hard pressed to finish outside the top 5. Trevor Vaden settles back into 3rd here, as Walkner and DeBlanc are fighting 4th and 5th. Gonna have to kind of get an idea here too where our other point battles lie. Dave Steele Jr. in 11th. Chris Harvey, the last truck on the lead lap, in 15th. But he's fighting with trucks that could get him all the way up to Dave Steele Jr. here. Yeah, Dave Steele falls all the way back to 13th there. And Chris Harvey up to 14th. So the difference, of course, 1 point, and that's the difference of 1 position. Right now they are separated by just that. Chris Harvey on the attack wants to get by Dave Steele Jr. to be the truck on the inside of the cut line instead of the outside. The other one, of course, was Zach Magoon, which we noted he was running outside the top 20. Magoon still struggling here, I think. But now, in the meantime, we got to keep our eyes on the front of the field here as Tim Cording is caught up to Trevor Walker. There we go, as the swap is made for the lead. Tim Cording takes over on lap 90. How fitting, driving the 90 truck. 90 to the point. He has single-handedly passed both the Trevors here tonight to take the lead. The first occasion he took the lead, and then a caution came out shortly after when he got by Trevor Vaden. This time setting sail now, he gets by Trevor Walker, and it stays green for now. This is going to make Dave Steele Jr. and Chris Harvey a little bit more uncomfortable in their scenario here to get into the chase, as this is going to bump that bump line back to 9th. As the two of them, we're talking, are fighting over 10th place. So it then looks more important for Zach Magoon and what he can do here tonight. And Zach Magoon running in 17th. He's trying to minimize the points lost in this battle, as he's kind of holding on to a top 20 run right now. His other 2 competitors in the top 15, they ain't going to be able to gain much points on him. So Magoon, your 9th place driver, trying to kind of secure that number 9 seed, as they'll only have one more race after tonight to figure it all out. Of course, it just comes down to it. Win and you're in. So it raises the stakes for Dave Steele Jr. and Chris Harvey to show up at the last race of the regular season and just try to win it all. Chris Harvey gets by Dave Steele Jr. That's good enough to move him up to 10th in the points. And he ain't done there, as he's worked his way up to 10th and has very much 9th, 8th, 7th, and perchance even 6th on board for him to get by. Every spot matters here for him as he can get as many points and positions. Oh, and just like that, it teeter-tottered again. Trevor Walker gets by Tim Cording, and that makes it so the bump line is back to 10th. So Chris Harvey gets to have a heavy sigh of relief there, as the current leader would not be a new winner, knocking him back a spot. It's crazy that this race only 150 laps long, but we're seeing a massive power struggle between three of the fastest trucks that we've seen week in and week out. 90 of Tim Cording not giving up here, knowing very well what's at stake. See, he could get the win this week, or he could get the win next race when we go back to race on the West Coast in just a couple weeks. But it'd be so much sweeter and nicer to get that off your plate as soon as possible, rather than let it stack up to the last regular season race of the year. And there he gets the lead back, and we'll see how long. Trevor Walker seems to have a fast truck here tonight. He's riding that sweet spot in the dirt berm there, giving that 21 truck a good line of attack. He's right back on the back bumper of the 90. As we're 2/3 of the way through the race. Closing in on the final laps here tonight. And Trevor Walker on the inside. Looks like he's going to use some of the lap traffic to his advantage here. 09 a fast knot on the lead lap, so he's within all rights to continue fighting here as he wants to stay on the lead lap. And there we have it. The lap traffic holding the 90 up pretty badly there as Trevor Walker gets back by. Tim Cording on the attack again as we've got 45 laps left to go. Tim Cording gets back by. Trevor Walker now has to fight from the hip again. This has been one spirited battle for the win as these two duke it out, going back and forth, back and forth. Lap traffic not helping either driver's case here as they're having to fight through very thick and very, very tight quarters lap traffic. Here comes Trevor Walker on another. Ooh, and now we have a new third place driver joining the mix. Brian DeBlanc gets by Trevor Vaden here. Vaden getting on the inside though, and it looks like these two are going to be duking it out for third place. But in the meantime, they are slowly catching up to the lead too as Tim Cording and Trevor Walker lead the way. Going to be all about where you are in the closing laps to make the final push here tonight. Trevor and Tim keep swapping the lead here. Lap traffic holding up the 90 a little bit as Trevor Walker using the most of the track that he can to move through the field. Here he is with another push for the lead as he's going to close the window here on the 90. 20 of Vaden also starting to close up on the front of the field here. Tim Cording really having to find his way around some of the slowest lap traffic here tonight. As the laps continue to tick away here. Chris Harvey still holding on to 10th, besting his rival for the championship top 10 of Dave Steele Jr. there. And of course, it keeps teeter-tottering on whoever leads this race. You're either looking at the top 9 in points or the top 10 in points, as a win from Tim Cording would come from outside the top 10 in points, meaning those that point their way in have to finish in the top 9 to qualify for the chase. But if Trevor Walker is able to close out the deal here, it's whoever's in the top 10 in points. Walker's starting to lose a little bit of ground here as the 90 sees some clear track in front of him. Of course, this is about the time in the race where we usually see a ill-fated caution strike occasionally. It took us about 70 laps into the last run to see a caution. Probably about 50 laps into this run since that last caution. Walker not making as many moves around the lap traffic here as Tim Cording is. He's going to have to start attacking quickly as we're down to just 30 laps left to go. Open track for the 90 means he's going to be able to start putting together quick laps again here and stretch that lead even further from the 21 truck. Tim Cording turns a 17.8, which is right about in line with his fast time. Trevor Walker turned a 17.9. Of course, that is with lap traffic. "26 laps left to go here now as Trevor Walker gets by the lap traffic, and he's going to have to set some competitive laps here to catch up to the lead. Tim Cording turns a 17.9. Trevor Walker turns a 17.8. So buckle up, buckaroos. It's going to get interesting here as we only have a handful of laps left. So the lead currently about a 2-second deficit between our two, and lap traffic starting to become a factor again. But the lap count starting to be less of a factor. as laps are closing away at a rapid pace here in Knoxville. The only thing that would unravel this race would be a late race caution for your current runners. So the one that definitely does not want to see this playing out the way it is Chris Harvey, who has done everything he can tonight to get up into the top 10, which has been good enough to get him up to 10th in the points. But now he's going to have to reset his focuses on the 51 of Magoon next race, on the closeout race, to try and catch up to 9th in the points to point his way in. And of course, you can't even completely rest assured with 9th in the points if another surprise winner wins the last regular season race of this season. So yeah, it's just the fun and the entertainment of these playoffs, with a that added wrinkle that everyone having to come out on top somehow. 18 laps remain, and Tim Cording starting to kick it into overdrive as he's built another second of a lead, now up to 3 seconds on Trevor Walker. Seems like he's actually using the lap traffic to gain some speed here, which is kind of unusual. I'm surprised to see him turning faster laps within lap traffic. That's actually pretty crazy. Turned a 17.7 last lap within heavy traffic. So Tim Cording getting back into the rhythm here and just knocking them out one by one. Still holding pretty consistently at a 3-second lead here, the 90. Tim Cording just has 14 laps left remaining here tonight. And definitely makes the rest of the field quiver in their boots, knowing that this 90 truck is going to be playing in the championship battle. Trevor Walker knocks off a couple tenths there and then loses it again. So this is the point in time where the lap traffic separating the two of them is going to help tremendously seal the deal. Yeah, Trevor now under attack by his teammate Vaden right there behind him. You got to imagine that it's slightly personal between the two teammates, where Vaden has gotten more wins but still sits second in the points to his team owner. If he finishes behind his team owner again, it's only going to allow that points lead to grow in the favor of Walker. 3.5 seconds now your deficit, as we're down into single digits with only 9 laps remaining. And man, what a comeback this will be. Tim Cording taking the field by storm here. Shows back up and starts laying him down like he never left in the first place. Shows up right at the end of the season and gets right back into the same routine that he always does here. I think we've seen him do this at Knoxville before, honestly. We've seen him do very well on dirt tracks. This seems to be his his forte, one of his strong suits. And you guarantee that the team had this race marked on the calendar once they come back onto the circuit, that this was the track they wanted to show up and show down. 6 laps to go, still 3 seconds the advantage. Our Sigma officials are going to keep a very close hawk eye on that the yellow flag in case we need to use it. But Tim Courtney, of course, at the front of the field, hoping that it does not have to happen, that there is no reason for a caution, as we have just 4, now 3 laps to go. Trevor Walker still trying to dip in just a little bit here, but he's going to need a miracle to get back into the fight here tonight. And of course, at the conclusion of tonight's race, we will know a pretty solid deal of who's in and who's out, who's going to need to point their way in, and who's going to need to win. As we're down to just a couple laps left in this one. It stays green, the lead still belonging to Tim Courtney. All he's got to do is take the white flag, and it is going to happen right here. White flag waving for Tim Courtney. He just needs to make one more circuit around Knoxville there, and it's going to be all in the books here tonight. As he comes through turns 3 and turn 4 now. Checkered flag in hand of the flagman, waving as Tim Courtney seals the deal here tonight in Knoxville. In more ways than one. Wins the race and locks himself into the chase. Trevor Walker comes home in second, and it was his teammate Trevor Vaden that had led so many laps here tonight. And that overall points battle is not over until it's over. With just one race left in this West Division, it's going to be hard to sit still and wait as anticipation grows to see how the championship unfolds for this regular season as we start rolling into the chase in just a couple weeks' time. Tim Courtney just made it harder for a bunch of drivers to point their way in as he wins and locks himself in. So now Chris Harvey, Dave Steele Jr., they're going to need to work a little harder for the last regular season race of the year in this Western Division. And of course, it's going to be on a short track at Evergreen Speedway, where it's just going to get a little bit harder for these guys. Short tracks, very unpredictable usually. Of course, with Evergreen, we'll have to devise some heat races to set the field, as the track ain't big enough to fully field a 42 truck event. So we'll have to have top 30 locked in and do a last chance qualifier, or in other words, a sprint quali, to set the final 5 drivers in the main event. But ultimately, congratulations to Tim Courtney, actually winning back-to-back races, as he just won the Cup race, and now he ends up winning the truck race here on the west side. He's going to have his hands full fighting some of the stoutest competition from this year's USA Trucks Championship. And thanks for all you for tuning in. I know it was a late one. We're back in the swing of things as we're going to have a full calendar of racing here in the month of August. So stay tuned. Tomorrow I'm going to do same thing like I did with the other cup race. Probably run it, maybe even turn it on sometime. But yeah, it'll be run so that we can be back on track with that cup series as well with the schedule on the calendar. So thanks again, everyone. Congrats to Tim Cording on getting the job done. This Trucks Championship just getting heated up at the right time of the year, as we're going to be hitting that chase right before you know it. So have a good one, everyone. Stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Jake.